Black because we live in a world socially constructed by race, defined by genetic and biological differences. I am a woman because we live in a world where patriarchy is the prevailing political structure in most countries. I am an innovator because of a village that shapes who I am and whom I will become. Ubuntu, I am because we are. So, this is me and my husband. Every morning I wake up, I get ready to go to work, I walk into the kitchen, and I just go about my day. My husband walks into the kitchen, and our Google Home device, all of a sudden it wakes up and goes, ba-ding. This frustrates me to no avail. Why won't Google Home recognize me? This is where Ubuntu comes in. Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an African word. It's based in humanist African philosophy. It's a universal bond that brings community together. Think of yourself as a villager and as a person traveling in Africa. After a long day's travel, you wander into a village. The villagers bring you in, they offer you food, entertainment, possibly shelter, water. This is Ubuntu. The idea that this village would take you in as their community. There is also Ubuntu, the Linux operating system. An operating system is the software that runs your computer. Many of you probably have a Mac, which runs a Mac OS, or Windows. The Linux operating system was designed for researchers and scientists initially. Then came along Mark Shuttleworth and a group of developers. They created Ubuntu, a derivative of the Linux operating system that was designed to appeal to the widest audience possible. They wanted to make this open source, free software available to anyone and everyone who wanted to use it, distribute it, and create an operating system of their own. So when you blend those two things together, you get Ubuntu innovation, my call for tech inclusion. This is a term I defined myself. However, after doing a little bit of Google searches, I found a few companies who actually title themselves as Ubuntu Innovation, and I will encourage you all to go out there and look them up. But Ubuntu Innovation is a call for tech inclusion. It's about inviting every part of humanity to be a part of the technology process, from start to finish, from design to distribution, including everyone. So why is Ubuntu innovation important? Well, it's a part of my story. This is my story, my process, my journey, and I'm going to take you on this adventure today. My adventure starts with my parents. My parents were immigrants from Trinidad and Tobago. They migrated from the very warm island shores at the southern tip of the Caribbean to Montreal, Canada in the dead of winter, looking for a better life for themselves. It was in Canada that myself and my brother were born. Not long before I was a little under 1 year old, we moved to New Jersey, to a small, sleepy suburban town, population of about 21,000 people, majority white, upper middle class. In this small town, I was a very happy, curious child. I loved to play with my Legos, play in my deep, dark basement with our Atari with my brother, and enjoyed my speak and spell. E.T. was everything to me. That speak and spell was my beacon for dreaming of far-off places and the many things that I could create. I also am part of a very large family. My mother was one of 9 children and my father one of 5. I have many aunties and uncles and a plethora of cousins that support me in everything I do. And my aunties and uncles support all of our cousins in everything we do. However, all that curiosity, all that happiness, all that support didn't matter when I went to school. At school, I was different. In elementary school, you could find me in the back row of my elementary school pictures, dead center, in the back, tall, black, and different. This is something I carried with me throughout my entire journey as a student. And then, as I went through my K-12 career, imposter syndrome sank in. How many of you can relate to imposter syndrome? I see some nods and a few hand raises. I, in school, felt like an imposter. I was often one of 2 kids in my classes. I often felt like I needed to figure out how to keep up, how to prove that I deserved my place in a class with the smart kids. So you can see me in this picture in a sea of white people, and you might understand why I might have felt a little different. I, however, had a teacher, Mr. Pantases. He taught AP Calculus. Mr. Pantases would address us all as scholars. Good morning, scholars. Every time he said that, I felt proud to be in his AP Calculus class. He also did something that I'd never seen another teacher do. He would ask us for our graduation photos, and he would place all those photos all over the classroom. This made me feel like I belonged. I could see myself in this history of scholars. I could do this AP Calculus thing. That was important to have that window to what to be successful, what I could do to be successful. This is part of Ubuntu innovation, having those beacons out there to let you know that you belong and that you could do just the very thing you don't think you could do. So how does this awkward Black girl who is surrounded by a bunch of white people become a computer scientist? Well, my dad, in the top left corner there, he was a man of many trades. He was an electrical engineer. My brother, next to him there, 4 years my senior, he studied computer engineering in college. So you would think that with these genes that STEM was probably something I would go into. But I'm not too sure that that was actually the path that I was going to take. However, my dad got me into this program designed by Bell Labs. It was a summer science program designed for 8th through graduate school. It was Bell Labs' way of creating a pipeline to a diverse workforce. In this program, I learned how to make a clock from scratch. I designed a race car that didn't work. I programmed a robotic arm to test various devices. I learned a lot. And one summer, my mentor came and plopped a C programming book on my desk, and that is when my love affair for computer science began. I was hooked, and I would study computer science through undergraduate and grad school and do things with computer science beyond that. So when I arrived to Princeton University, ready, eager to study computer science, I found the gates. What are these gates? Well, back in the 90s, and I hope it's a little bit different now, I'm pretty sure it is, Computer Science 101 was the gatekeeper to doing a computer science major. Now, I had some experience with computer programming, but again, look at me there, surrounded by a sea of white people. In my class, I was one black girl amongst the mist of a bunch of white people. Imposter syndrome came with me, and that gatekeeper class with programs and tests designed to weed out those that weren't deserving of a computer science degree was hard. And then I began the climb. The climb to find support systems, like the Society of Women Engineers and the National Society of Black Engineers. The climb to find support systems. No one was inviting me to a study group. I had to reach out to others to find people to support me to get through those problem sets. The climb to find role models. Most of my professors were white men. Most of the people at the conferences I attended were white men. Where was my mentors? Where were my mentors? Where was my support? Those beacons, they weren't always there during my career as an undergrad and as a grad student. Which then leads me to my career as an educator. So at the end of grad school, I decided that perhaps the tech workforce wasn't ready for me, and I went on to become a teacher. As an educator, I worked in a variety of summer and after-school programs. I spent time as a master trainer for MIT App Inventor. The group on the right, these 6 girls that you see me with, they're from a small town in Texas, Los Fresnos, Texas, a small town on the border of Mexico and Texas, a population of 5,000 students. These students had a dream of creating an app to help their visually impaired classmates navigate the halls of school with ease. They put in this idea and they won. They were a finalist in this contest and got me, as a master app inventor trainer, to come to their school and help them with creating this application. They were such an underdog that 6 Latinx girls would create a mobile app for their visually impaired friend that they started to get a lot of press. That press led them to the White House Science Fair, where they got to meet President Obama. Now, I wish I could meet President Obama. You're thinking I met him? No, I didn't get to meet him. But I was so proud of these 6 girls because they had, before they met me, never programmed a computer in their life. A few years ago, someone invited me to a hackathon in San Francisco, a science hackathon. This woman approached me through email or direct message and said, "Hey, we're throwing this science hack day, and I think you'd really enjoy it." And I thought, me? I don't think so. I don't want any part of a hackathon, because in my head, I thought I would go there, I wouldn't find anyone to connect with, and it would be scary. And it was scary. I arrived trying to figure out a group that I could work with, and finally found these women. We created this periodic row of elements, a fun little thing, and ended up with an award, the Magical Art and Science Award. This was great because, 1, someone invited me to do this, and 2, I actually had fun. But I probably would have never gone if the invitation wasn't sent out to me. So we live in an age of innovation, where technology is increasing at a rapid rate, where we are designing and educating our students for a future we know nothing about, where we are propelling large telescopes into the sky and billionaires are making space flight common flight. This is why Ubuntu innovation is important. It's about access, it's about inclusion, it's about equity. It's about inviting all humans to participate in this future where technology is the currency. So, Ubuntu innovation, African philosophy, and Linux operating system. Tech inclusion for all. Ubuntu innovation is for the young girl growing up in a small New Jersey suburb, looking for role models, wanting people to ask her to not just be a consumer of technology, but demand her contributions. It's for the young woman student pursuing multiple degrees in computer science, looking for those beacons, someone to say, the gate is open and we welcome you. It is for the young woman in Silicon Valley who is contributing to the social landscape in tech, where often females like Timothy Gabriel are canceled when Timothy Gabriel, former lead AI scientist, is canceled because she questions everything that the policies and structures of her company. But I say we need to accept her challenges. Ubuntu innovation is for the consumer of technology, the Black woman consumer of technology, where often that technology does not work for her in the right way. Bill Ayers wrote a book, Demand the Impossible, a radical manifesto. This is my radical manifesto and my call to adventure for you, to include everyone as part of the technology pipeline. I am Black because the contributions of my people shape the world that we live in. I am a woman because I nurture, care for, and educate others with story and joy. I am an innovator because we all, the impossible for all humanity. Ubuntu innovation. I am because we are innovators of tomorrow. Thank you.